Welcome to Take Two Creations with Manoj and Chetna. We have another very wonderful guest today with us on the Passion series. During a recent theatre workshop with well-known actor Shishir Sharma ji, one of the guest speakers completely mesmerized me with his charismatic smile, his simplicity, his clear thought process about speech, sound, rhythm, physical intelligence, dances, songs, yoga, love, life, humanity, and the concoction that you can make out of all these things to create what we call an actor. We have today that self taught actor, director, and a trainer who uses his own discoveries and experiments to evolve his skills of acting in films and theater. Please welcome Neeraj Kabi.
So thrilled to have you on the show. Really
I know.
excited. Really
Thank,
excited.
thank you. Thanks. Pleasure to
So,
be here too.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. And to start off, tell us about your journey up to your first Uriya film that was in 1997, and then your first break in Bollywood, and to the success today.
That's a long, long journey.
Not many people know about that journey prior to your hitting the Bollywood, right? And I'm sure
Yes.
you have done so much work.
Well, um, well, to put it in a nutshell, actually, um, it's been a journey of determination. I think if I look at it and look back at it, a journey of courage, a journey of standing by what I believed in,
Hmm.
um, a journey of not letting failure discourage me, a journey of looking after everything around me as I kept walking. That is, taking care of my family, looking after basic essential living, and walking ahead. It's been a journey of, as I was told, I started very late, but it's been a journey of fighting that as well in a very non-violent way, fighting it silently, fighting it with my craft, and to convince my audiences that I may be late, but I have been preparing for so many years to arrive here. So my journey had already begun many years ago. And I've arrived now, but the preparations have had a very long past and an arduous past. That's been my journey, actually, in a nutshell.
Wow.
Uh, and even till now, not to give up. I think I've had this one mind of what I wanted to do when I came here in the Hindi film industry and how I wanted to do this entire performance, this entire craft, this entire journey of mine, my profession as an actor. I've stuck on to that belief inside me. I cannot really talk about the belief too much in detail unless I keep on working and you see it really on screen to be able to believe that. But having keeping this to my own self, this journey has helped me to realize that the industry is one space and you can choose to use it the way you want to.
Hmm.
It's been very
Wow.
difficult. It's one thing to just follow what is already there. Because when you come in, many people around you, actually the entire universe around you of the Indian film industry, tells you exactly what is done, what has been the norm, and how it should be from here on.
Uh-huh.
It is your discretion as a human being first to say whether you want to follow that or you want to carve a niche for your own self and to use this space to create something new, to maybe renovate the space, to maybe change the very way things have been functioning in the past. That challenge is yours. And that challenge is not a violent challenge. It's not a challenge of ego. It's a
Hmm.
challenge to yourself to work with the industry and to take it ahead.
Hmm.
So I had been trying to do this and I still do this. I work in tandem with the film industry. Although I don't attend parties I don't socialize too much. I'm not in the public so much, although I'm asked to be at the interviews and everything. I don't. Even on social media, I just got onto Instagram. So I've chosen all this very, very consciously. This has been my journey as of now. I think this is the best way I can say. And the most delicate part of my journey, where I actually struggled, where I actually went through very, very difficult phases and literally black holes. I would never want to discuss that, because that entire period, that entire phase has been my strength, my dignity, and my honor. And I would never like to share that with anyone.
Nobody has described their journey so well. Very intelligently put, I guess. Very thought-provoking kind of definition of your journey. So, talking about that
You
journey,
started with
Odia film, and then broke into Bollywood film series and
कितने सालों
TV
से you have
series
been work
and
acting,
films
कोई
and
ऐसा
theater. You have
ऐसा
done so
character
much.
नहीं जो
I
आपने
was
ना किया हो. You
amazed
had the
to
opportunity
see
to
the
work in
breadth
so many
of the
different
kind of plays you have done.
very
Mostly
tough
Western.
characters.
So
Very
you, after
well
doing
done.
all that work, and you were a self-taught actor, you got the opportunity to work in the kind of roles people will kill for, right? I have seen like Nasiruddin Shah, Manoj Bajpayee, and those kind of people will do. So you are in that category of great actors, what I call. But somehow Neeraj Kabi name didn't become a household name until like Sacred Games or Pataal Lok.
I think
Why do you think
Pataal
that?
Lok changed everything. Yeah, Pataal Lok is when it became like people started recognizing. And I think that's
Exactly.
one of my favorite roles that you have done, Neeraj. So,
So what happened? Why do you think people connected more with you in Pataal Lok than or Sacred Games than anything else you have done before?
I wouldn't be able to really pinpoint a reason why. Even I've wondered why, because when I started with Ship of Theseus, I realized that, yes, this is not a film that the masses would watch, but I was surprised that Ship of Theseus was watched by the masses.
Right.
And in India, the releases were there at all the PVRs, and people flocked to see this film. I was really amazed because we were playing besides stars of the film industry. And those films on, we still had houseful shows. And a film like Ship of Theseus doing a houseful is mesmerizing, is a huge surprise for all of us. It came as a surprise. And I remember being with the director, Anand Gandhi, and we were traveling to Lucknow, to many, many cities, Delhi, and because we had interviews, we had premieres, we had so many shows happening. We were continuously on the road and in flights. And we were getting messages on the day it actually premiered that at Delhi, you know, it's a houseful. In Chennai, it's a houseful. In Mumbai, it's a houseful. And we were jumping in the flights and on the road because people knew when we made this film, we felt, God knows who's going to watch this. Because it's highly, it's got no songs, it's got no heroine. How do you get that? And we were surprised because, you know, one thing, years where I actually fold my hands to the audiences. We never knew that the audiences would accept this.
Right.
And this is entirely their blessing. Of course, we worked very hard for the film, but 50% of the work done, the other 50% relied on the entire audience of this nation and abroad. Abroad, of course, it did phenomenally well. There is an audience over there to watch this. But over here, we were skeptical because we didn't know. We also have an audience in India to watch such films, but not the entire masses.
Right.
And Ship of Theseus is not a film for the entire masses of any country. No country masses would watch it.
Right.
And we were surprised that people watched. And thereon, people began, there's a class of people that began to recognize my work, which was surprising because even when I went to Missouri from Bombay or to Dehradun or to Delhi, people would come in at the airports and everywhere and say, you're the Ship of Theseus guy, right? Stages of being recognized outside. I mean, I've never done my work so that my posters put up everywhere and so that I'm recognized. That's why I came in the industry. If that happens, it's a bonus. So when it was happening, I felt very excited. But I didn't know how come so many people are watching this film. And then came Talwar. Talwar hit it off very, very well, naturally for me.
Definitely.
Was there Byomkesh Bakshi, but the film didn't do very, very well. So the recognition only came for my own character.
Right.
When I did, newspaper critics were very, very kind. and I got a very good review for all, and I was also nominated for all these films and awarded. But the masses actually started realizing, mostly North India, Talwar was very, very well received over there.
Yep. Yep.
And it based on a true incident. So that became a space where, you know, people were recognizing this name slowly.
Right.
Then it happened. And Hitchcock took it to the masses, fortunately.
Hitchcock was another one.
It was a commercial film.
Right.
Right.
It was.
And meanwhile, while Hitchcock was happening, I was slowly getting into the web space, very gradually. And so that's how the whole transition happened. In between, I did Gali Guliyan with Manoj Bajpayee. That's again an international film that went everywhere, that did very well. But again, it didn't come to the masses at all.
Right.
So there were many I did that way, which didn't come to the masses. And then came Sacred Games. Absolutely floored everything.
Yeah.
I think even coming on the web series was an advantage because so many could watch this.
Right.
And then this hit it off because I remember getting out, and then Parulkar was the only name I was known by. Wherever I went, this is the first time that I was actually moving out or rushing out of a crowded area and getting into my car or getting into a space or a shop and requesting the shopkeeper that can you just keep the door shut, because people were coming in. And that was very beautiful. That feeling is amazing when people recognize you for your work and not so much for the way you look or whatever, but your craft is reaching out over there.
Exactly.
And people are there. And then Pataal Lok, of course, was between I did Final Call. I did many web series before that.
Right.
But Pataal Lok took it everywhere.
Yeah.
So now, it's a wonderful space to be.
You finally got that niche that you were looking for.
Yeah.
You carved out that niche for yourself.
The reason being that these choices were made very consciously. Many offers came after Ship of Years, many. But the choice happened right after that. I had to choose because I knew that my entry was, I did not believe that I was late. I came at the right time. But my age was such at that time, I was 42. And I told myself, if I don't choose and I don't pick, then I would fade away very soon. I had to last here. I told myself that I'm at 42, but I must last here till I'm 82. 40 years, I must do great, amazing work.
Amen to
That's
that.
always been in my head. It started right there. It is still in my head. And I'm very certain this will happen.
Yes.
So I will be there. And because I will be there, I need to choose and pick everything that I'm doing. And that's why it took time. Many roles came, but one had to say no to many of them because they were not in compliance with the journey that I was wanting to travel. It was taking me somewhere else. So when Parulkar happened, all police officers' role came to me. I mean, every feature film was offering me that. So you had to take care and say no. Films were coming where they were saying, can you change? You know, you're a character, you're very good in the beginning, and suddenly you change into this villainous man. And I said, but I've done this. I've done this in so many roles, you know. So you become typecast like that, and you have to fight that with a lot of courage. Because if you fight that violently, you can be written off in the industry. If you fight that very mildly, you will still be written off. You have to find a midway how to actually fight this and keep pushing yourself inside. It's like really breaking a mountain because the industry has been there for many years.
Yeah. So you used a word, Neeraj. You said typecasting, and that's, I think I'll ask you my next question based on that, that you choose your characters and your roles very carefully, and you have done varied roles in so many years. How do you bring distinction in your characters? I remember that in Pataal Lok, you were this suave, cunning, clever journalist. And then in Taj Mahal 1989, you were this meek, romantic, henpecked, and a sweet husband. And then a DCP in Sacred Games was a totally different league. So how do you bring these
Don't forget Once Again, by the way.
Yeah, and the romantic lead in Once Again. I mean, how do you bring distinction? Because like you said, during our theater workshop, you had used this word or used this sentence saying that there is a sound to your voice, which changes everything.
These are techniques, these are tools, this is the craft. And there's a conscious decision for me to understand that an actor is not you. So Neeraj is not the actor. Neeraj is a human being. The actor is inside me. Or, in other words, the actor is also outside me. It engulfs me and it engulfs the experiences of the outside world. So, if I were to compare an actor with a light of a candle, then the wick is the body and the entire aura or the light is the actor. So the actor is around the huge body. And so actor is actually bigger than what you are. And what you represent is bigger than who you are. That is the craft of the actor. And the actor has to travel this craft or this journey with technique, with tool. If you don't have technique, if you don't have training, then you will not be able to create something which is larger than you. And it has to be not about what you feel. It has to be what the character and the sense of this character in humanity would feel. If I'm doing a romantic role in Once Again, I am also encompassing a romance of a huge variety all over the world. I'm not encompassing a romance of Neeraj Kabi. Neeraj Kabi will not romance like that. Neeraj Kabi will not, in Talwar, succumb to a situation like that or fight that way. I am very different. So the personal human being is a very different person. The actor you become is larger than you. And that is your consciousness as an actor. And when you're traveling all this, you are consciously changing and creating this variety. It is a physical change. It is your intelligence change. It is your voice change, your sound change, your heart change. There's a lovely saying, I forget who this actress was. She said something very beautiful about acting. Actually, she said, acting is the complete or the partial transformation of the actor's body, mind, and soul into that, the character. Look at where she put it. She said, you as an actor have to transform in your physical body, in your mind, your voice, and your soul into that of the character. That is the process of the actor. This entire process is about acting. Acting is not what you see on screen. When I come on stage, I'm performing. My process of the acting is to reach out my entire being and the character into the audience. That reaching out is called acting, not what I'm feeling personally. Because those are my personal emotions. So when I feel something, let's say in a character of Pataal Lok, that is definitely not Neeraj. Neeraj will never be. But you have to use technique, craft, and the outer experience of the outer world to imbibe and create that larger than life sense around your own self, so that you actually are in awe of the character you are creating. You look up to the character. That is where the character gets dignity.
So when you pick that character, for example, just to take Pataal Lok, that character you portrayed of a journalist, suave, cunning, and manipulative. Do you imagine do you bring in people from real life? You think of them, or you create your own character in that? You create that image of this is what you are creating, your mind is creating through imbibing from external sources. Or do you go like, I know this person and he or she is the duplicate copy of the character that is written?
No, actually, I never do that. A character that you read in a script is larger than what you actually read in the script. So when you're representing or creating that character around you as an actor, you're not simply creating what is there in the script. Your script is only the foundation for the character. Pick out that character from that script, you pull him out, and you create a sculpture that can be sensed and felt by the entire planet. That's what your job is as an actor. So when you do all this, you cannot focus it on a particular semblance or resemblance to any one or two or a group of human beings. It's much bigger. It has to resonate in every being that is watching you and your film. This character has to resonate. Yes, some may not like the character, some might hate the character. That's called the feeling of the audience.
Right.
That's not the resonance. You have to resonate in a deeper sense inside them. At one facial level or a foundation level, they might not like you because they feel, oh God, I hate this kind of a person that the character is, or they might love that character. That's just a feeling. That's right on the surface. Deep inside, you must resonate inside them. That's the job of the actor. And to do this, there are many, many techniques and training required. So when I say techniques, there are tools of actors. When I do some characters, I first work on the physical intelligence of this character. So I write a lot. I work on my script first. I make a lot of notes. And then I start to pick out things that are available in the script. I work a lot with logic. I do not work with imagination. So three things I don't do is imagination, improvisation, and reaction. I never do these three things. I was brought up on the foundation of these three things when I was learning acting at various workshops and whatever I was doing. I used to do these 3-day workshops, 4-day workshops, just to pick up a few things till I decided to do it on my own. I was taught all these things. They taught me that acting is about reaction, improvisation, and imagination. And I said, what if I break all of these? What remains therefore? And I began from there, my entire journey, because I didn't want to do what was already there. I wanted to create something, a path that I felt I would want to walk. And so when I create the character, there are details of this. I pick out a lot of things that are already available in the script, and they become prime for me. I begin to work on this and I imbibe them inside my physical body. This is done again through scientific physical arts such as yoga, Kathakali, Kalaripayattu, Kodiyattam. There are many like this. So you pick out this chow. These are all forms in our country. So I pick them. I've trained a bit in some of them. I pick out certain areas of these dance forms or martial forms, and I combine them into a regime. This regime is what I follow every single day. While I do that, I'm building my physical intelligence. Then I start to work on my mental intelligence for the character, which is where a lot of reading is required. A lot of resemblances of the literature that is there. I try to find it in novels, in poetry, in paintings, wherever I can, in music. So wherever I feel there are resonations of this character and wherever it resonates, I pick out those areas and I make a library of this. This is where my studies begin. Then you go into the spiritual sense of the character. So you look at the character as a macro system that is there on this planet. What is the purpose it's serving, therefore? What is the purpose a character like Parulkar serves? Why is he there on this planet? What does he do there? What's his job then? So you create all this, your physical level, your mental level, your spiritual level. Once you're connected, you start to align all these three. And then you create that momentum. It's like churning. And that's how slowly the character begins to evolve. And then it comes out of me and it encompasses me completely. So when I go on set, it's no more Neeraj.
Wow. Boom. Boom.
All I want to say,
Which is
all I want to say is hats off and no pun intended.
That is amazing. This is the first time I have heard a methodology that is self-created. I'm assuming it is all your created. It is amazing. This is, I don't know how you came up with this thing, but we see that on the screen. So that's a compliment to your methodology, what you were doing. So,
and also it goes against everything, like you said, that we have been taught as an actor.
yes.
Manoj and I act as well to whatever we can, but
I wouldn't even recognize myself as an actor
I know,
anymore.
but we are actors in some ways. So now, like what you talked about is completely opposite of what we have always learned. We always are taught to imagine, to connect to somebody you know in real life and go out there and follow his patterns and think of your experiences. This is totally, this is like an outer body experience that you are explaining.
Yeah, it has to
That's
be. In
how.
fact, as I'm doing my own research on this, more and more I'm realizing that one needs to now understand a lot of the spiritual processes. If you
Right.
take certain, I won't name them, of course, in over here, but there are many spiritual processes. And many of them talk about a human being traveling at one time in, let us say, the 10 worlds. You know, there are some processes that talk that as I'm sitting here with you and I'm speaking to you, I'm actually traveling 10 worlds, the 10 realms of the aura. And these
Right.
10 realms are about greed, jealousy, evolvement. There are many things, anger. You're traveling that, and I'm wondering, if I do a character and if I'm playing, can I come to that consciousness in my system over here as I'm performing a character, that I'm aware right now I'm traveling in this realm. Now I've shifted to this realm. Now I'm shifting to that realm. You know, this is the kind of work
Wow.
that, which is where acting becomes divine after a point of time, because you are creating something which is connected with not just your mental and physical intelligence, it's created with a spiritual intelligence.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a
that's where it
spiritual.
becomes so exciting. Again, these are things I'm just talking off the cuff. It's just my own, since we are talking about this, I'm
Mhm.
realizing these things. It's also connected with education systems. For example, if you really look at Rudolf Steiner's methodology of education, there is so much that he's talking about how a child evolves.
Mhm.
The entire detailing is so crucial. And he talks about how this very child, at the age of 2, what will he do when he is 42? What will he do when he's 62?
Mm.
He has drawn out the
Hmm.
entire pattern. Now, isn't that a wonderful study for an actor? To really realize that this is an
Yes.
education system, but I can take it to my grammar. That
Mm.
is how I think research is done for actors. You have to
Wow.
be open-minded. You
Right.
cannot just read books on acting all the time. That's one part. You have to read. You have to study many formats that are present in this world, and you will find your clue and your link somewhere to grow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
this is a spiritual journey, as you explained. I think it's a spiritual journey for each character. Each character's a spiritual journey, and they have their own paths, I guess. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Mind blowing.
I read somewhere that you also have been exploring a concept of this collaboration between like traditional artists with all the what you call them like urban actors. So what is that collaboration about? Is it also to in some way like enhance the experience of an actor or to enhance the presentation that you do at the end of it? I want to
So when
understand why this collaboration.
this collaboration actually happened when I opened up a theater company in 2004, and I called it a laboratory because I didn't want to call it. I didn't know what to call it, so I said it's a theater lab, because my methodology of work at that point of time in 2004, when I began to direct actors, I realized that I work in a format that is very workshop oriented. Because before
Mhm.
that, I would do a lot of workshops. I still do workshops even till date. It's been so many years of doing workshops with children, with adults. So I use those methodologies and I create exercises on acting exercises. So when I was, the first play that I did was William Shakespeare's Hamlet. And when I read the play, I realized that there are so many levels to this. There are so many complexities to the human characters that Shakespeare has written, and the overall sense of this concept called Hamlet, or the
Hmm.
philosophy called Hamlet, that I felt no one actor will be able to do justice. At least the actors I had at that point of time, because I could not get the absolutely great actors to perform with me because I was just beginning my journey at that time as a director in the theater. So I got the people that I had. And I realized that if I want to actually portray the complexity of this play, it was about humanity. Every play is about that. It's about human relations, human feelings. And when you pick up things like this, they are complex. Shakespeare writes very simply, but the presentation of it is very complex because you can't present it so simply. His writing is very simple. He will write the text and he also writes your subtext, which is your mind. He's one of those few writers that just simplifies everything for you. But the problem is that when you do Shakespeare, because it is simplified so much and there is so much of complexity in his subtext, you cannot just play it as it is written.
Hmm.
You have to have the greatness of the craft to play it or an interpretation to it, which is why if you see most people interpret his plays, they don't play it directly. It's very difficult to do that.
Ah,
So the reason for taking traditional art forms, so when I did Hamlet, I took Yakshagana from Udupi, which is down south, south of India. They have a form called Yakshagana. It's a theatre dance form. And I took Drupad singing, which is the oldest classical form of singing in India. Mia Tansen would sing that. So that was the form. I got artists from there, and I got a percussionist from Indore. He played the pakhawaj. Now the sound of the pakhawaj, Drupad singing, and Yakshagana dancing came or became the subtext, and they together became something that was larger than what one was looking at as an audience. You were only looking at urban actors. But I wanted to create something which is far more complex than what they're saying or what they're acting. Because Shakespeare has made it so complex. To be able to do that, I began working with these traditions. And when I explored and experimented with this, I found this so exciting that I made this my journey and my methodology of doing theater. So if I do any play, or I would be doing now, my next will be another Shakespeare, I will not be able to do it otherwise. I will have to take a tradition, art form, which is a dance or a physical form. I will be taking a traditional singing form, and I will be taking a traditional music form. And I will merge all this with my actors. Because then when you see the play, then when I saw my own play as I was directing it, I found all the complexities of Shakespeare coming alive. Because these dance forms and these music forms are scientific in nature. They're very, very old. They have hundreds of years old.
right.
And because of which there is a very deep rooting to their sensibility and to their feelings. And when you bring them on stage with their amazing costumes, set against the costumes of your characters, they reveal something else. So when they are dancing, for example, I was doing scenes with Hamlet, and there were sequences of Gertrude, Hamlet's mother, when she loses her own husband, and she then has to marry her own husband's brother, that is Claudius. When she loses her own husband, the trauma that she goes through is presented by two performers on stage. So to the left, I have Gertrude, the lady. To the right, I have the Yakshagana dancer also performing as the lady. So it's a beautiful sequence where nothing is spoken, but they're simply removing their earrings, just as an Indian woman would when there is a death of a close person in a family or when a husband dies. Now, this is not the present modern Indian woman. I'm talking of the traditional Indian woman, where the jewelry is taken off, where the sindoor is removed. Now, I did this in a very, very artistic format with the music percussion playing. And there was this singing of Drupad. There was an alap on which you have these two performers playing. Now, if you take the whole sequence, it brings about the tragedy even more.
Right.
And I left it over to my actor to do that, it wouldn't have got that pathos. But the pathos came, the Karuna Rasa came, because all these were merged. So the overall experience that you take home from the theater, this is what you take home. When Hamlet is to be or not to be, the famous speech, I did not make it a soliloquy as Shakespeare wrote it. I interpreted that as a sermon to the audience. So when my actor is saying it, he's not thinking to himself, saying to be or not to be. He's not doing that. He's saying it to the audience. We chose that to be a philosophy of life. And the way it is said is, we have the Yakshagana dancer who's sitting like Krishna, and my Hamlet becomes Arjuna. So he peeps in and he whispers with gestures and eye movements. And Hamlet listens and then interprets that to the audience.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's a very beautiful sequence of connecting things to my own tradition and making it sensible and sensitive within the sphere of what Shakespeare meant to do. So that way, I can relate to this play as an Indian and I can give it to the Indian audience.
Wow.
Very nice.
Wow. I'm totally, and now I can, I know, Neeraj, you won't have time. I can continue talking for at least 4 hours nonstop on this topic, just listening to you. It's so mesmerizing, as Chetna had said when she heard you during Shishir's
I have been
workshop.
like talking about you to him for ages now.
Yeah.
Like you have to
Right.
talk to him.
So you are a true intellectual in all senses. But I want to know who were the influences in your life? What uh, are there influences of people that or cultures or things that influenced you, or if you like, that has made this Neeraj Kabi today?
I think, it's people, definitely. And all people from all walks of life, artists, uh, leaders, educationists, philosophers, many of them have influenced me. Just the way they have lived their lives and what they have left behind on this planet and what they're doing for humanity. That touches me a lot. I always look up to people who are leaving behind a mark with their craft, and a craft that will last for the next multiple generations to come. So I get very, very mesmerized by such people and their life, the way they have created their craft. And it's not just actors, it's directors, it's musicians, it's everybody. Even philosophers. I'm very, very influenced by a lot of philosophers, by the way they've seen their lives. I think that is where the courage has come in. I wouldn't have had this courage to explore the way I am doing right now had I not really seen live examples of people who are doing 1,000 times bigger work and more intellectual work than what even I can dream of doing. And when I see them and I see the reality of these people existing on this planet, I feel then, why are we living such small lives? And why can't we live lives like that? Because I feel if that is one reality, then we all are capable of doing that. I'm sure it's not about skill or courage or anything. It's just about taking that one step and telling yourself that I really want to be of use. I felt that this is possible if we all put our minds. It's just about taking one step ahead. It's nothing. We fear so many things in our lives, and that's where I think when I see these people, I ask myself, don't they fear anything? Because we all fear so many things, and how come they are walking day to day, moment to moment, with such courage?
Yeah.
And what is the influence they're leaving behind? And that's what excites me a lot about
Yeah.
life. And then when you look at your own issues and your own problems, I don't know, I just feel it's so selfish of us even to mention or even to think about our problem. We're
Yeah.
all fine. We're all, at the end of the day, we are all fine. We
Yeah.
have our eyes, we have a body, we have a heart beating, we have a breath. And I think that's enough reason why we should be doing work that is as big as mountains. There is no other reason. It's not about talent or intelligence or nothing of that sort. In fact, the greatest people who've done biggest things have had no talent, no skill, no intelligence. Look at a man like Gandhi. What skill did he have? You tell me. I've performed him also. And I was trying to search for those amazing skills. And he had nothing. He had no oratory skills. He had nothing in him.
Right.
But he just took one little step. Charlie Chaplin was not a trained actor. He had only a few things with him to go. But he had the courage to take those steps. And he created so much. There are so many of them like this. Such
Right.
amazing.
We want to do some no explanation questions. We just want to ask simple questions. So to know who Neeraj Kabi really is and what his likings and things. Nothing controversial. We'll try to stay away from controversial. But name an actor or actress you would love to work, love to act with, that you have already worked or not have worked yet.
Okay, so I would like to work with a person called Nawazuddin Siddiqui once again. I've worked with him earlier, and I want to work in a comedy with him. Yes.
I would love to watch you both.
Two actors, nothing else.
Yeah. I've never seen you in comedy, but I think Nawazuddin, I have seen him in some comic roles, and he
is so amazing.
amazing
I've
actor.
done comedy on stage, but never in
Yeah.
films. And I'm waiting to be offered something.
Is he your friend?
Well, we have a very beautiful mutual respect for each other on set all the time.
Oh,
Okay.
Whenever we work together, we've had this. I worked with him in Monsoon Shootout and then in Sacred Games.
okay. What was your most satisfying performance? Or are you ever
Uh,
satisfied? That is.
yes, in fact, very strangely, I am. When I finish the work, when I look at my work, a lot of the films I am satisfied. I never say that no, I wish I could have done something. No, but a lot of them again, there are certain sequences where I feel no, I'm just not happy with this. I don't know why I did this. This is taking me
Mm,
away from what I wanted to actually do, and I couldn't do this in certain scenes only. But overall, I am creatively happy in most of the work that I've done. And if you ask me for my favorite work, I think all of them are very dear to me. But if I were to really, really pick out one of them with a heavy heart, then I would say Maitre in Ship of Theseus, because that was my first performance and it was a do or die situation for me in my life. And I
right.
felt if I don't, then I'm doomed.
Do you regret rejecting a movie or character you wish you had done uh, that was offered to you, or you didn't take it?
Yes, right after I did Ship of Theseus, Divakar Banerjee called me up for Detective Byomkesh Bakshi.
Hmm.
And right after that, a few days after that, Vishal Bharadwaj ji called me up for Heather to play the role that
Oh,
finally went to KK.
Wow.
So
wow.
when that happened, I was just so shocked
Oh,
that such
man.
amazing directors offering me such wonderful roles after my first film. And I was in tears because I had to choose one. And I had already committed to Detective
Okay.
Byomkesh Bakshi. There was no way that I could say yes to Heather, but I was so wanting. In fact, I met Vishalji and I told him this as well, that I've already committed to a film. And because they were shooting at the same time,
Huh.
it was very difficult to do
Yeah.
this.
Go
And
back
I
and forth.
regret that till date. I
Mm.
regret that till KK Menon did that and he did such a wonderful job out of it.
Yeah.
KK's role
KK is
as Claudius,
amazing.
amazing.
KK was good. KK is also one of my favorite actors, by the way.
So I'm
Whenever
Yes,
watching
he's
Special Ops again recently. So, and I'm just in awe with that actor.
okay. So another actor I would want to work with is KK Menon.
Who?
who?
KK Menon?
I've still not, yes, I've not worked with him at all. He's
Oh,
Okay.
that's
definitely an actor I want to.
hmm.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
I
so now we
saw
have three
yeah.
more actors who are coming on our show next time.
Nawazuddin. Nawazuddin, I will do anything. I'll come and wash your car, man.
I'll clean your house if you take it up.
Okay, so
So,
continue on the theme.
so Neeraj, I don't think so. You ever regret in doing anything in life, but still, I would ask you this question: biggest regret of your life, anything at all?
Well, I cannot answer.
All right, that's fine.
Okay, that's
Totally off
good.
the hook. Okay. Is there a wish that is not yet fulfilled?
Yes, I mean there are many of them, but one of my desires is to create a residency where I can do the kind of work that I want to do in theater and in films. That's a wish I have, and I wish it happens someday. Where I'm able to create a space where actors come for theater and for films, and we're able to explore and experiment tremendously with technicians and with everybody. It's like a lab that I
Yeah.
want to function like, not straight away going on set, but functioning like a laboratory. And we are exploring and experimenting with the camera person, with the editor, with the actors, with the art director, everything. And
Hmm.
thereafter coming out with a product.
What is your next major milestone, and where do you see yourself going from this point on in your life?
When you say milestone, are you asking me a project that I'm doing right now?
No, no,
Life's milestone.
life's milestone. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, I want to continue working with theater and films both together side by side. When I say films, I'm also including web series. These two are my foundations, and I want to continue working with this so that somewhere with my work, as I'm directing theater or I'm directing films later, or I'm acting in either of them, somewhere I want to strike a chord with humanity. Somewhere I want to see if I am able to create a different perspective to life of people around me and in this world. Somewhere, if I can change the very way people relate to each other, people feel for each other, and in a way, if people can awaken to the fact that there is so much to us that we have never explored or thought of exploring, and the way we are living right now is definitely not the way that we should carry on living, because we've spent enough of our years and our time as a human race destroying a lot of our own selves. There's been destruction. Although we've created a lot, but there's been so much of destruction that we've lost the very sense of life and humanity. And I wish that I could contribute in my smallest way, doing theatre and films, into these areas. That's, I think, a milestone, and that's where I see myself walking towards. It's not about being popular. It's not about people clapping on my work. It's, I think, far beyond this that I want to put myself on, and my mind and my heart on.
Wow.
Thank you so much. I'm so
Salute to you.
grateful.
It
I'm
Thank you
so
so
is,
much.
grateful that you talked about your role as a human and your responsibility or your conscious effort to contribute something back to the humanity. I have not heard too many people taking their position, their talents, their capabilities to that point, and just thinking of the whole humanity as
right.
such rather
Yeah.
than themselves. So thank you so much, Neeraj. Like, this has been a very, 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 I think Take Two Creations is very grateful to you
Thank
that
you
you
so
were
much.
able to come
I'm
here
obliged. Thank you. Thank you,
and
Chetna.
talk to
Thank
No,
you
us.
much.
we are grateful forever for you, for not only for this interview, but just talking to you, learning from you, and that is the purpose of our this whole platform. We do it so that it is our learning as well as, and I think I mentioned it before, that people that we connect with are all kind of like-minded people. People are of higher conscious, and the people who want to bring the change through whatever art form they choose to use. And this is our purpose, to make sure that we can communicate this message. And that's why we love to talk to people like you and Manoj and lots of other people that we have worked with. They all are trying to do the same thing. They are not compromising for the sake of bread and butter only. They are bringing the change in humanity through their art, their craft, their art. And I salute you. Thank you so much for your time,
Thank you.
and continue to stay connected, hopefully. And someday I will be in your lab, doing,
Absolutely.
brooming the floor, but I'll be there.
Me too. You cannot leave without me. It's Take Two Creations, right?
Thank you, Neeraj.
Thank you
Thank
so
you. Have a
much.
wonderful
Thank you.
day in life. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
All good. Thank you. Bye-bye.